Hey folks, Prepper Princess. So today we are going to make another poor man's meal, which is pretty much either going to turn out to be an omelet, which I am really bad. I've only been successful 2 times in my life at making an omelet. It almost always turns into a scrambled egg medley. There are a lot of videos around the internet about Great Depression cooking, and there's also Depression Cooking with Clara, I believe. A beautiful soul, wonderful old woman, God rest her soul, she did pass away. Luckily, I am in a fortunate position where I get to talk to people who lived through the Great Depression. I don't have to read the information on the internet or in a book. I get to speak to these people one-on-one, ask them what their daily life was like, what they ate, how they lived, where they lived, what they did for fun, especially Mary Alice, who is an amazing just dictionary of information about the Great Depression. She lived on a farm. They had chickens for eggs and for meat. And fortunately, she was able to tell me just yesterday when I visited that they had a lot of eggs for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Food was a little bit expensive back in the day during the Great Depression, so it was really hard to feed a family. And she gave me her recipe and what she did, so I'm going to go ahead and share that with you guys. So let's get started. Okay, so the first thing that we've got is eggs. These eggs did come from my chickens. This one is from Fuzzy Feet. Nope, that's a Bandit egg. That came from Bandit. And we're going to take 2 eggs. It is late January and our chickens just came out of their molting process. So we're fortunate enough to have eggs on a daily basis. So that's a really good thing. And during the Great Depression, Mary Alice was fortunate enough to have eggs every day for herself. And I can get into more stories about Mary Alice. She's just the cutest thing ever. So we're going to add a little bit of onion. I got this from this little container, which my grandma gave me a couple years ago. And this thing comes in very handy. I don't know where she got it, but it was in my stocking for Christmas a couple of years ago. And it really makes the onions last longer. And I guess the gases from the onion doesn't really get into the fridge and make it go bad. Now, another thing that they would add would be leafy greens. I am not a fan of leafy greens, but I do have some kale here, and I'm just going to add it. It's going to add maybe some nutrients and minerals, not really a whole lot of calories going on in here, but it is also going to make the egg a more, I don't know, palatable medley of colors. And again, I don't know if this is going to turn out to be an omelet. I am always very unsuccessful with omelets. I'm really bad at making them. I can't flip them correctly, which is just, so maybe it'll be a scrambled egg medley. So let's just go with scrambled egg medley, and then I won't set myself up for disappointment. Another thing that they would do is she had a cow and they made their own cheese. I don't have a cow and I can't make my own cheese. So I'm going to add in some cheese here. And this is what binds the egg together to sort of make it an easier process to cook. So we're just going to scramble this up really good. It is a lot in really pretty colors with the purple onion and the greens and the orange and yellow from the cheese and the egg. So that's really does make it look pretty appetizing already. Well, I'm not going to eat it raw, but okay, so it looks like it's pretty scrambled. We're just gonna move right over here. I already put some butter spray on there. I'm just gonna get rid of all of it. Do it as consistent as possible and pray that Prepper Princess is able to flip this thing without messing it up. Okay, we're gonna leave it on here for about 10 to 15 minutes and we'll come back when it's time to flip it. Rocky cameo. Who's my boy? Can you shake? Oh, you're so smart. Oh, you're such a smart boy. Yes, you are. Fingers crossed, fingers crossed, fingers crossed. Yes! Okay, so Prepper Princess has been successful 3 times at making an omelet. Oh, lots of protein, lots of nutrients, lots of good stuff. Let's dig in. Okay, so we are back and we are getting ready to try our egg omelet, and Prepper Princess, third time, made a successful omelet. And yes, Todd, I waited for it to cool down. So let's give it a go here. The cheese did a really good job of keeping it pretty much together, which is, I think, why I was so successful at making it flip correctly. I didn't get any of the onion or kale in that bite. That was just an end piece, so let's try a little bit more. Look at that cheese. Oh, see that? Cheese. So I don't know if you guys are more interested. I might be able to get an interview with Mary Alice. She is currently in assisted living, so the visiting hours are really tough, but she's really good friends with my grandma, so my grandma goes and visits, and sometimes I'll go with her. And Mary Alice is like the cutest thing on earth, but I don't know if you guys would be able to understand what she's saying unless, I mean, I would give her a really good microphone, but without captioning, I'm not sure if it would work. And I don't know how she feels about cameras, so I'll have to ask her and see if she would be willing to do an interview about how she lived during the Great Depression. But the meals that you see on things like the Clara's Great Depression meals, those are meals that they did use or did make. They ate a lot of potatoes. Mary Alice said there was a lot of pancakes, and they grew or picked a lot of their own oranges. She said that the big thing was not condiments. So if you had pancakes, you didn't really have syrup to put on your pancakes. Or if you had oranges and you wanted to make orange juice, it was pretty much just oranges and water. You couldn't really add sugar. So she said that there was little tiny twists of things that were different with the type of food that they ate. And every time I talk to her, I'm just sitting there like, tell me everything. Because everything she says is like the most interesting thing. And she thinks it's just whatever, like she's just talking about stories from her childhood, and she thinks she's boring me, where really I just want to hear every single word she says, and it's amazing. I'm sorry for yakking your ear off. Let's just eat. Rocky's begging, but he can't have any because it has onion in it. So I hope you guys like this poor man's meal. Do what you can with what you've got. Prepper Princess out.